Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome again to Zim Gin Time, episode 4, I believe. We're still in Mozambique, and I am going to do a bit of a recap from last week because I have been cussed no end by friends and family to say that they couldn't hear a word of what I said last week, and after about 3 days of trying to do the noise reduction on the back end, it just didn't work. So hence I'm sitting in my little chalet at the moment, away from the wind. It is also raining currently in Mozambique, so I'm not going to do this outside. I'm going to do it in the cozy of my little chalet. So big shout out to Small Town Stills. Thank you very much for supporting the channel and what I'm doing. They are the proud sponsors of Zim Gin Time. I do have the Zambezi gin I'm drinking at the moment, so I'm going to pour one because it's 5 o'clock Friday and it's gin time. I hope you all have had a good week. I have had a great week, actually. Really enjoyed being on the beach. Literally we are a stone throw away from the beach, so that's been very cool. But let us start by saying cheers. Happy Friday and welcome to Zim Gin Time. So a bit of a recap from last week, not last week, the week before. As many of you know, I did my Zim Gin Time, but unfortunately it was a very, very bad recording and I could not get the wind out of the recording, so I'm just going to do a recap now of that week, then a recap of this week, and then I look forward to what's going to happen in the next couple of days, which I'm very excited about. So from last week, I want to firstly apologize to my dear brother for calling out his bad tools. I should not have done that, and I apologize to you. They are tools, and I had to work with what I had. So I appreciate, Brian, I appreciate your tools and everything. But yeah, as a carpenter, I do say if you're going to invest in tools, make sure you invest in good tools because they'll last you a long time and they won't delay what you're trying to do and get you frustrated. So apologies to my brother. And then also shout out to Ty Stockyall. You know, I stayed with him last week, or the beginning of last week, and it was awesome. We managed to get a lot of little bits and pieces done on the truck, which was pretty cool. Some welding, some fixing, some cutting, some bits and pieces to help the truck and to help the trip go a little bit more smoothly. So thanks for having me, letting me stay for a couple of days, and it was a couple more days than I intended. I had planned to go to my cousin's to watch the rugby Saturday morning, but unfortunately he got called into a meeting in town in Harare, so didn't get out there till Saturday. So I stayed with Ty's a couple extra days, which was good to hang out with him. And yeah, I appreciate you letting me stay. Then yeah, so drove to Scracky's, my cousin's in Mozambique, Virginia, on Sunday morning, but I went the back route to his place, and it was fairly sad because I was hoping to go through some of our old family's properties and farms and stuff, but the route that I took didn't take me that way. It took me another way, so missed a lot of that, but still drove in the back end of Virginia and started recognizing places as I drove through from my childhood, which it's sad, but I'm not angry. You know, there's no point in being angry because it's just a waste of energy, if you ask me. So just sad, remembering all the times, and it really not escalated, but really hit home once I drove from my cousin Scracky's down to Mozambique, Virginia, which is our old farming district, which we used to live just off the road, or quite a far way off the road, but then drove all the way down to our old country club and drove around that for a little bit. I did not jump out and take photos. It is now a Zona PF headquarters for the local area, and I thought me jumping out and taking photos was probably not the greatest or the wisest thing to do. So I will share that. I'm just putting some music to it now. Please, if you are from Mozambique, Virginia, and you see it, please be warned. It is sad. It's sad to see what's happened to it from its prime days when we were farming in that area to what it is now. There's most of the structures are still there, but tennis courts are down. There's people living in the putt-putt course. Yeah, it's just sad what it's become, especially with a lot of people having a lot of memories there. You know, it's sad. It's sad to see what it is now compared to what it was, but life moves on. Life is. Also, a big shout out to Dave Palmer, who I got to see, went and had coffee with in that area. He is an old farmer that is still fighting the good cause in that area to stay on his farm, and I wish him all the very best in that fight. But great chatting to him. He had a friend there that managed to give me a couple of contacts. He's in the conservation world, so he gave me a couple of contacts to where I'm going next. So yeah, thanks to Henry for those contacts, and looking forward to using them. Yeah, so from Mozambique, I headed out the back end, so past the country club, and then up to, I want to say Rungwe, and into Nyanga, the back end, and apologies for butchering that area, into the back end, and a journey that probably should have taken 2 hours ended up taking probably about 5 hours. So a big shout out to Jazzy from the Far and Wide setup. She managed to get me in contact with the pack shed, where I sent those beautiful photos of the sunrise through the tent and the views. They let me stay. They gave me a patch of grass, which was pretty cool pretty cool of them, but then also a pretty cool place to stay, and to wake up with that sunrise through the alley cab was just too sweet. I also met a couple that were from Vic Falls, diaspora, so people who have moved out of the country, then moved back to the country. They're living in Vic Falls, and now they go up to Nyanga during October, which is generally the hottest time of the year. So it was great to catch up with them, or chat with them about life and all that sort of good stuff. And yeah, from there it was pretty much a very packed little couple of days. So the next morning I got up fairly early. I went down to the Gairezi River and did a 11-kilometer walk. My brother gave me that one of the Gairezi trail runs that they do, and I feel sorry for anyone who ran that, but just some quiet time up in the mountains, beautiful views, then down onto the river, and then walked up the river. Just a beautiful spot, quiet, very reflective, and a nice place to just spend some time. And then on that way, from there I headed up to a place called Worldview. Yeah, and I think I mentioned in one of my posts that is where we spread my dad's ashes. My dad died 20 years ago, and we spread his ashes there at Worldview. Back then it wasn't as built up. Now seems to be a lot of other people who have spread ashes there. It seems to be quite a popular spot, so I think my brother and I are going to have to invest in a little plaque to memorialize him. But as I said in the video, I'd not, or in the video, in the reel, I'd not been there for about 18 years. Well, when we spread it, and not because I didn't want to go, it's just I never got to it. You know, every time we came, and my ex and I came to Zim, we'd go to Kariba or Vic Falls, and we went to Botswana, so we never really got a chance to go up there. So it was really cool. Actually, I spent the afternoon. I had a couple of beers. I did at one point. I went up. So World's View is kind of the lower area, and then you got up. There's a little kopje, which is like a granite outcrop that's a little bit higher than World's View. So I went and climbed that, and the little Mr. Security guy came after me because I'd had 2 beers and told him I was going to pay later. And yeah, I think he was a little bit worried, but no, I'm not in that space anymore. Well, I'm not in that space. But yeah, very cool to go and sit there and just look out upon the world and reflect on all the times that I wish he had been in my life or was around in my life. Questions I could have asked him that would have helped me help direct where I was going, what I was doing in my life. I can't say that I made all the right choices, but having a sounding board like your dad in your life during those times, I think would have definitely helped. You know, I lost him when I was 16, turning 17, so just becoming, in theory, a man. You know, I was making big decisions. I was moving over to the UK to pursue a career in rugby. You know, looking at what to study, looking at what direction my life was pretty much heading after that. So, you know, it was nice to sit down and just reflect on all of that, you know, and listen, I think I got some things right and some things wrong. I don't regret anything. You know, it is what it is now. It's part of my history, it's part of my past, it's part of my journey. You know, it's up to me to write the next 40-50 chapters. So, you know, it's just good to sit and think about what you've done, where you're at. You know, unfortunately I'm in a bit of a turning spot where I'm at, and I need to reassess, recondition and recalibrate, and that's what the wild recovery is all about. So yeah, anyway, on that note, cheers. So yeah, I had a very pleasant night, pleasant afternoon there chatting to Dad, and then after that I went and spent the night at the Inhassoro National Parks. They've got a little campsite down at the bottom of the hill. So I went and spent the night there. I met another couple that were overlanding. They work in Mozambique actually. He's on the mines, so he's doing exploration for the mines, and she is a writer, so they get to travel a fair bit. You know, every time he gets time off and they travel. So it was cool to meet them and have a chat with them. And then the next morning I decided to, or I didn't decide that day, I planned to climb Mount Ingangani, which is the highest point in Zim. I did need a guide for that, so the next morning I shot up, back up to the office, got the guide, and we went up. And again, a very reflective place. You look out and you see so much of a country that has gone through a hell of a lot over the last 40 years, 50 years, you know, through independence and everything, and you know, it's still trying to find its feet, and it's still tripping and falling, and it's still getting back up and trying to make things work. So it was a beautiful place. A big thanks to the guide who guided me up and down, because you know, they do say that when the mist comes in, it comes in quick and you can get very lost up there. The guides also had a lot of superstitions, so I wasn't allowed to point at anything. I had to use my hand and say, where's that and where's that, because if you point, they think the tokoloshis are going to come and get you. So something to remember if you ever do climb that mountain is don't point. And yeah, a couple of as we went up, we went down to the little waterfall, washed our hands, and the guide said a little blessing, which was pretty cool. And then on the way back we did the same thing. You wash your hands and the guide says a little blessing of, you know, a safe trip, thank you for a safe trip, which was pretty cool. And then after that I went to Inhassoro Falls, which is part of the skywalk and zip line that they have up at Far and Wide. I was saying, because I met up with the Craig brothers at Far and Wide, that, you know, I don't think I've been there for, again, probably 20 years since I left them. So 20 years since I went there, because they did a prefix course that we went on to prep us for the beginning of the year. You know, we had school prefects that helped run the school at Pitas. So you go there for like an orientation and team building exercises, and I can't remember going there, but I played rugby for 20 years after school, so I'm not sure the memory is still there. But yeah, great to catch up with those guys. Great, it was awesome fun to do the zip line, the skywalk, which is like a ropes bridge over a big gorge over the falls, so you can have a look down. Was fun, not as scary as some of the stuff I did in construction, because I did some pretty sketchy stuff when I was working in the construction industry in the States, but still you're up there, which is pretty cool. And then yeah, you walk up there and you do the zip line, which is across the gorge, which was really fun. I really enjoyed that. I will share the video, and apologies for the unpleasant views, as harnesses and hanging off harnesses is never a pretty sight for anyone, so I will pre-warn you on that one. After that, I actually headed back to Nyanga. I bumped into Thomas Negri, who was a farmer in our district back in the day, and he was up there with some family friends that I knew, so they invited me out for a braai, which was pretty cool. So went from the Mtarazi Falls. I went up and had dinner with them, and great to chat. There was a guy who is married to one of the family friends, Joe Curry. His name is Graham Lang, and he went to Watershed, which is where I went for the first 3 years of my high school career. And it was pretty cool chatting to him and reminiscing about all the stuff that we used to get up to, all the naughty stuff, all the good stuff, all the bad stuff, and then chatting to Tom Negri, who actually went to Hartbury with me, you know, another part of my life. And it was good to hear all the chaos that we used to cause and reminisce about all those good times. So really great dinner. Unfortunately, at about 8 o'clock it started absolutely bucketing down with rain, and they kindly allowed me to sleep on their couch, which was quite nice, because I've not yet done a raining camp setup, and I'm trying to avoid that, hopefully, like the plague at the moment, but we will see how that all ends up. But yeah, it was a great night. Good to catch up with them and reminisce about years gone by, and then on to the future. So that brings me to the beginning of last week, or this week, where we drove pretty much from Mozambique, from Nyanga to the border. We've picked up the folks, so Mum and John, and their friends Celeste and Bruce, and we drove from there. We drove all the way down to Masungu, I believe it's called, where we spent the night at Bella Villa, and then from Bella Villa we drove here to Inhassoro. One thing, so it was officially, or unofficially my second border post, but a very disorganized border post, which is Mozambique. You know, you've got guys running in and out trying to fix things. We call them fixers. They fix things, they get things working when local politics does not allow for it, so to say, which is a bit annoying. But yeah, so we had a fixer on the Mozambican side who got us all through, got us all the documents we needed, visas we needed, and then headed down. But about 80 k's outside of the border, I was trying to catch up to the Kalahari Ferrari John Harris, and I was caught doing 86 in a 60 zone, and a Mozambican finest gentleman of the law flagged me down and gave me a 2,000 metacash fine. So I was a little bit of the laughing stock of the group until about 500 meters away from Bella Villa, where John, I got through and John was pulled over, and his fire extinguisher unfortunately was out of date, so he got charged 2,000 mets, but because it was out of date they asked him for another 20 US. So we both got fined on the first day, which was a good start to the whole thing, but we managed to get here safe, and that's all that counts, even after a couple of cokes were taken and all the good stuff that happens in Africa when you're driving. This week, okay, so this week's been a great week. Very chilled out, very relaxed. Managed to catch up on some work, managed to catch up on some videos, managed to sit down and I've had some great conversations with Mum about my trip, about what I'm doing, how I'm going to do it, and all the things to look out for. So it's been pretty cool. Managed to start running, so I've done a couple of runs in the morning. I do about 5Ks up and down the beach, and it gives you a little bit of time to think. You know, I posted that, you know, running in footsteps and then following those footsteps to see where you get wrong. I think I'm trying not to live in the past. The past is part of my past. It's not my future. So while I do spend time thinking about, you know, my journey and where I'm at the moment and what I've done to get here, I'm not obsessing over it. I'm not, oh, if I did this, then life will change, or I did that, life would change. Life's life. You can't change what's happened. What you can change is what you're doing and what you want to do. And my brother said it to me, and he said it very well. He said, attitude is 100% choice. If you want to be miserable, that's your choice. If you want to be positive, if you want to go forward, that's your choice too. And that's very much how I'm looking at this. I'm going to go forward. I am going forward. You know, everything that's happened behind me, it's happened behind me. I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to sit here and be miserable about it, because I can't change it. What I can change is the way I go forward. And so, you know, I've had a couple of, not deep conversations, but conversations with people that have gone through a lot of trauma and a lot of hard times themselves. And the sun will set, the sun will rise. It doesn't matter how you're feeling or what you want or what you desire. Life will go on. So either you live it and you do the best you can with what you got, or you sit and you be miserable. And one thing that, you know, going and sitting at World's View and chatting to my dad, life is short, life is quick. 18 years have gone from when we spread his ashes, 20 years since he died. Like, life's not waiting for anyone. So don't sit and regret the past, because you've got a whole future to look forward to, and it's something you need to go forward and go for. So attitude is 100% choice. The sun will set, the sun will rise. It doesn't matter what you're feeling. So you got to get on with it. You got to go forward. You got to go and enjoy yourself, and don't live in the past. You can't change it. So that's my little 5 cents. The other one, I've since what happened with my ex and I, one of my big mottos in myself is bad energy in good places. There are days that I wanted to just go and drink myself silly and just forget and just ignore, not process, and just hide away from the world. And I could have put all my energy into that. I could have done it. But what would the outcome of that be? I'd be a miserable git. Somewhat am now, but hopefully trying to be a little bit more positive. Or I could go to the gym, I could go for a run, I could write, I could just put that bad energy in good places. So I'll throw it out there. Put your bad energy in good places. Put it to good use rather than bad use. And if you are in that slum, get out, say yes. My sister-in-law gave me that advice when this all came out, was say yes to things, because all you want to do is hide away and just avoid everything. But you can't. You gotta face it, you gotta process it, you gotta get on with it. Because the sun will set, the sun will rise. No one cares if you're sad or if you're miserable. So you gotta keep going forward. Look, be positive. Life is tough. Life, you're going to have your bad days, you're gonna have your good days. Make sure you surround yourself with a good bunch of mates that you can phone and say, listen, I'm having a rough day, and they say, okay, listen, do you wanna go out for a walk or a run, or do you want to go to the gym, or do you want to go get a meal, or you're right? Like, try and find people like that. And if you don't have those people, give me a ring, and I will preempt all of that and say that I'm not a trained therapist, I'm not a trained psychologist, but I'll listen. I won't judge. And if you want advice, yeah, I'm only 37 years old, but I've been through a fair bit already. So, just send me a message, whatever. I don't care. I've got Starlink on the truck, so I'm connected all the time. I will reach out and see how you're doing. But yeah, you've also got to take it in your own hands. You can't just wait for people to reach out. And if you want to talk. So, but yeah, cheers to that. We'll start there. Okay, I do see that this is about 27 minutes, but I'm doing 2 in 1. So what did we do this week? This week I've been running on the beach. We've been playing lots of dice and board games. We went fishing 2 days, and I'm sure you saw the fish, and we snorkeled. I will say that I did catch a shark. I did not get it anywhere near the boat because it snapped the line and ran, but it was pretty cool. Very big fish. But as you say, not in the boat, so I can't count it, but I did hook a shark. Fought it for about 10 minutes, and then he decided that he wanted to go that way, and unfortunately my line was not that strong, so they had a disagreement, and I dropped it. So but awesome fishing. I was quite impressed. I did not get seasick. Normally I do get seasick, but spent the whole day out fishing and talking with people that are older than me, and it's quite interesting listening to their chat and see how they interact and see their life experiences. Very different from ours, but very similar as well. But yeah, and then today we went out for lunch with some old family friends and my old headmaster, which was pretty cool. He used to scare the shit out of me back at school. He still does, actually. I did not swear once during dinner or lunch, and I was very polite and stayed on the beers the whole time instead of the gin and tonic. So I'm catching up now. Again, plans in Africa changed. So my plan to go to Beira is probably not going to happen, as Bryn is back in Zim. So I'm going to go from here. I've stayed an extra couple of days. I was meant to be on the road today. So I'm going to stay an extra couple of days with the folks, and we're going to drive up to the Matari Beira Road, and then I'm going to go up to Gorongosa for the next week or so, and they're going to go back to Zim. So that is the plan for the next 6 days. And then from Gorongosa, I'm going to go up northeast side of Gorongosa. There's a set of caves there. I cannot pronounce the name, so I'm not going to try. And then from there I'm going to snake my way over the Zambezi and then stay on the north side and head up to Tet, catch up with some family friends, or mum and John's friends in Tet, and then I head into Malawi. So very exciting couple of days, and this will pretty much start the solo part of my trip. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I'm gonna pretty much wrap it up now because I'm at 30 minutes and I don't want to bore you too much longer. But I just want to say happy weekend. It's Friday. Well, we do not have any sun here at the moment, but it's been a great week. We've had prawns, calamari, we've had lobster, we caught fish, so we had Sierra, we had job fish, we've had fresh fish pretty much every other night. So it's been a phenomenal week, and I'm hoping that you've had a great week too. So once again, a big shout out to Small Town Still, for the gin, for the sponsoring the channel or supporting the channel, and we look forward to catching up with you next week. On Friday I'm hopefully going to be sitting in Gorongosa, which should be a good laugh. Please keep following. I would like to try and get this to do this gin and tonic live, but that does mean that we do need 1,000 followers. So if you can share this and get some mates to follow along, it would be really helpful, because it would be cool to do this live. Then we can get comments and get a little bit more interactive instead of me just talking to the screen, because I feel like a little bit of it doing that. So anyway guys, thank you. That is all for this week's Zim Gin Time. I hope you have a great weekend, and we will see you next week. Have a good one, guys.